In a poignant display of camaraderie amidst the turbulent highs and lows of championship combat, UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria has extended a heartfelt message of support to his friend and compatriot Merab Dvalishvili following Dvalishvili's stunning loss of the bantamweight title at UFC 323. Dvalishvili entered the historic headliner in Las Vegas on the cusp of a record-breaking achievement, seeking a fourth title defense in a single calendar year, a feat never before accomplished in the UFC. However, a masterful and relentless performance from a revitalized Petr Yan shattered those plans, as Yan reclaimed the gold via unanimous decision, avenging a prior loss and abruptly halting Dvalishvili's dominant reign. In the immediate aftermath of this high-profile setback, Topuria, who shares a deep bond with Dvalishvili through their Georgian roots, took to social media to offer public reassurance. On his Instagram stories, the reigning 155-pound king wrote, "Brother, life is full of twists and turns, but to us you will always be the best. You will come back much stronger." The statement serves multiple purposes. It is a personal gesture of friendship during a painful moment, a public affirmation of Dvalishvili's standing within their shared community, and a reminder of the incredible resilience that defines elite fighters. Despite the loss, Dvalishvili's 2025 campaign remains one of the most impressive in recent memory, featuring decisive victories over top-tier opponents like Umar Nurmagomedov, Corey Sandhagen, and Sean O'Malley. A resume that solidifies his status as a leading candidate for Fighter of the Year honors. Topuria's own championship sphere is in a state of flux as he attends personal matters away from the octagon. His hiatus has prompted the creation of an interim lightweight title, which will be contested in the main event of the landmark UFC 324 card on January 24, as Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett collide to become the Paramount Plus era's first champion. The winner will eventually face Topuria in a unification bout upon his return. The lightweight division continues to churn in the background, with major fights like the Max Holloway vs. Charles Oliveira BMF title rematch set for March, and pivotal clashes such as Dan Hooker vs. Benoit Saint-Denis and Rafael Fiziev vs. Mauricio Ruffi filling out the UFC 325 card in Sydney. For now, Topuria's focus in the public eye is on lifting up a fallen brother. His message to Dvalishvili transcends typical fight game politics, emphasizing legacy, national pride, and the unwavering belief that a true champion's story is not defined by a single defeat, but by the strength of their comeback. It is a reminder that in the brutal world of MMA, the support of a peer who understands the weight of the crown can be the first step on the road back to the top. In his first public comments since a controversial and disappointing loss at UFC 323, former flyweight champion Brandon Moreno has broken his silence with a message of resilience, though he made clear his belief that the fight was stopped prematurely. Moreno, who was finished to be a second-round TKO by the surging Tatsuro Taira, took to Instagram to address the outcome. He began by assuring fans of his well-being and explaining his delayed response, noting, "I hadn't posted anything because yesterday was my birthday." He then turned to the pivotal moment that ended the fight, offering a balanced but pointed reflection. "Honestly, who knows, right?" Moreno said, acknowledging the uncertainty inherent in such stoppages. "Personally, I think the referee stopped it too soon. But look, I could have just stayed there and taken extra punishment, or maybe, if I did have the chance to get away, I could have made a comeback. You never know." His analysis captures the frustration of a fighter who felt he was still intelligently defending himself, a view shared by many observers who saw Moreno attempting to hand fight and create space as the punches landed, while also conceding the referee's difficult position in a high-paced, violent sequence. Moreno characterized the bout as a very strange fight, perhaps alluding to the frantic grappling exchange that led to the finishing position. Despite the setback, which halted his two-fight win streak, his focus is squarely on the future. "What remains is I have to keep my head up and I have to keep moving forward and enjoy the end of the year, enjoy the holidays, enjoy time with family, and look forward to 2026. Whatever comes strong." The road back for the Assassin Baby may have an unexpected silver lining. With champion Alexandre Pantoja losing his title to Joshua Van on the same night, the flyweight throne now has a new occupant. This upheaval potentially reshuffles the title picture and could create new or faster paths back to contention for a proven former champion like Moreno. While he didn't announce a timeline for his return, his composed response suggests a veteran's perspective. process the disappointment, cherish life outside the cage, and prepare to come back strong when the next opportunity arises.
In a fiery and wide-ranging interview, UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev has intensified his campaign for a super fight with light heavyweight king Alex Pereira, bluntly accusing Payton of ducking him and dismissing Pereira's counteroffer of a grappling match as irrelevant gamesmanship. Chimaev, fresh off his title win over Dricus du Plessis, sees a clash with Pereira as the ultimate financial and legacy fight, but believes the Brazilian is actively avoiding it. "Good fight for me," Chimaev told ESPN. "Everyone knows that. UFC knows that. But UFC doesn't want to give this guy to me." He scoffed at Pereira's suggestion they settle their rivalry in a pure grappling contest, stating, "Grappling, jiu-jitsu, it's not our job. Our job is UFC fighters." The Chechen-born champion mocked the notion that he's using Pereira's name for clout, pointing to his own massive social media engagement. "He's saying he's more famous than me? Bro, if I just say hi, my story on Instagram makes more views than his fight." He also addressed comments from Pereira's coach, Glover Teixeira, about a hypothetical hotel altercation. "Bro, I don't need hotel. You need to come to the UFC. You have a contract. This baby shit." At the core of Chimaev's accusation is a belief in his own stylistic dominance. "I don't think he wants that fight. He knows about it, and UFC knows about it. Everyone knows this guy is not my level." While giving Pereira respect as one of the best strikers, Chimaev is convinced the public knows how a fight would go, implying Pereira shares that certainty and is therefore running away. For Chimaev, the pursuit is primarily driven by economics. "The important thing is pay good," he admitted with a laugh. "Alex, they're going to pay good for Alex. Good pay-per-views, they're going to pay more money for that. That's why I'm pushing for that." He contrasted a potential Pereira payday with less lucrative, albeit mandatory defenses in his division. "These fights not make me excited, but I need to do my job. I need to make money." That mandatory defense appears to be against clear #1 contender Nassourdine Imavov, a fight Chimaev acknowledges is logical but lacks personal appeal, especially given their shared background. "I don't want to fight this guy because we know each other, but if the UFC wants it, never gonna say no." He confirmed his intention to move up to light heavyweight after one more middleweight bout, stating, "One more fight and I want to go up next weight class." Chimaev's comments paint a clear picture. He views Pereira as the most valuable target in combat sports, a fight he is confident he'd win and that would set him up financially. By publicly labeling Pereira as hesitant, he applies maximum pressure, attempting to force the UFC's hand and goad the light heavyweight champion into a signature bout that would define both their legacies. For now, the more likely path is a showdown with Imavov, but Chimaev's sights and his provocations remain fixed on Payton. In a measured and powerful response, UFC Hall of Famer Joanna has broken her silence regarding her heated altercation with former light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill at UFC 323, framing the incident as a matter of respect and truth while expressing empathy for those without her platform. The confrontation, captured on video, showed Hill threatening to knock Joanna the out after an alleged argument between the former strawweight queen and Hill's partner. While details of the initial provocation remain murky and Hill has yet to comment, Joanna addressed the controversy directly in a social media statement. "I worked so hard to earn my reputation, and I'm embarrassed to be in this situation," Joanna began, acknowledging the unwanted spotlight. She then clarified her motivation for engaging, stating, "But when somebody uses my name falsely without any basis in truth, I will always stand up for myself." This suggests the core of the dispute stemmed from what she perceives as false accusations or slander directed at her. Her statement took a more serious turn as she addressed Hill's threat. "And for that, I do not deserve to be threatened," she asserted. Joanna then leveraged her position to highlight a broader issue, acknowledging her unique ability to defend herself both verbally and physically. "I'm mindful that I am a strong, capable woman who has the benefit of a lifetime of self-defense training. I have a platform, resources that most women don't have." From this position of strength, she expressed solidarity with those less empowered. So I empathize with the women who are disrespected and threatened and lack the power and means to stand up for themselves and to stand up for the truth." She concluded this point with a call for higher standards, particularly within the fight community. "I expect more from society, and I certainly expect more from athletes in our sport." You want to thank UFC security for their handling of the situation and explicitly sought to close the chapter, stating, "I consider this matter closed and I wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season." The statement successfully reframes the viral beef from a mere chaotic spectacle into a conversation about respect, truth, and the responsibility of public figures. By not escalating with retaliatory threats, but rather appealing to principle and empathy, Joanna has claimed the high ground, shifting the pressure onto Jamahal Hill to explain his actions and the alleged false statements that sparked the fire.
In a move that solidifies the foreseeable future of the world's leading mixed martial arts promotion, UFC CEO Dana White has officially inked a new 5-year contract extension with parent company TKO Group Holdings, ensuring he will remain at the helm through 2031. The announcement came on Saturday night following the historic UFC 323 card, marking a pivotal moment as the organization prepares to embark on its groundbreaking $7.7 billion broadcast partnership with Paramount/CBS. "Yeah, I have been extended," White confirmed with his trademark grin during the post-fight press conference. 5 years, another 5-year extension, literally this year. The new deal replaces his previous 7-year contract from 2019, which was set to expire in 2026, and formally puts to rest any speculation about his departure amidst the company's massive transition. While White's ubiquitous presence, from Contender Series to Looking for a Fight, makes him inseparable from the UFC brand in the eyes of fans, the financial rationale behind the extension, as detailed by industry observers, is even more compelling. As noted by TKO investor and analyst Front Row Brian on X, White's contract is strategically aligned with the UFC's long-term debt structure. The analyst explained that when the UFC sought to refinance over $2 billion in debt in 2019, lenders required additional security, extended broadcast revenue, and a guarantee against key man risk. This led to a 2-year extension of the ESPN deal, and subsequently a 2-year extension of White's own contract to match the loan term. Now, with the UFC's debt maturity pushed to 2031 following the monumental Paramount Plus deal, White's new 5-year pact directly coincides with that timeline. UFC's loans that were due early 2026 are now due in 2031, and Dana signed a 5-year contract. Not a coincidence. So the underwriters of $2.7 billion in debt think Uncle Dana is needed. This financial alignment underscores a stark reality. To the banks and private equity firms financing the UFC's global empire, Dana White is not just a recognizable face or a popular executive. He is an integral asset whose leadership is deemed essential to the company's stability and valuation. His new contract is a vote of confidence not only from TKO's board, but from the financial institutions that have billions riding on the promotion's continued success. As the UFC prepares to launch its new era on Paramount Plus, the message is unequivocal. The man who built the modern UFC will be the one steering it into this next multi-billion-dollar chapter. For better or worse, the DNA of the promotion remains inextricably linked to Dana White for at least another half-decade. A fact now cemented in both ink and high finance.
Sean O'Malley witnessed the tectonic plates of the bantamweight division shift in real time, and his reaction was a blend of pure fanboy exhilaration and sharp strategic calculation.
as Petr Yan authored a stunning masterpiece to dethrone the dominant Merab Dvalishvili and reclaim the UFC title at UFC 323, O'Malley, the man who holds a deeply debated split decision victory over Yan from 2022, watched from his home in Arizona with mounting excitement, instantly grasping how the result rewrites his own path back to the top. O'Malley's live reactions, shared online, were unfiltered and full of admiration for his former rival's virtuoso performance. "Bro, Petr Yan, that was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen," he declared, his voice rising with anticipation as the final round unfolded. He highlighted the narrative of resilience, noting, "What a performance by Petr. Everyone counted him out." His commentary reached a peak during Yan's most brutal moments, exclaiming, "God, Merab getting slammed on his head might be my new screensaver. Holy shit, Petr Yan got the job done. Wow, what an impressive performance. Holy shit." Beyond the spectacle, O'Malley's mind clearly raced to the implications. He is currently scheduled to face the dangerous Song Yadong at UFC 324 in January, a crucial fight to rebound from his 2 losses to Dvalishvili. Yet watching Yan raise the belt, O'Malley immediately joked about a far more tantalizing shortcut. "Let's tweet, Song you're out, Petr, you're next," he suggested to his team, a half-serious quip that cut to the heart of the new championship landscape. The comment reveals a clear truth. A Yan-O'Malley rematch is now one of the biggest fights the UFC can make. Their first encounter was a razor-close, technical battle that left a cloud of controversy, with a significant portion of the audience believing Yan had done enough to retain his title. For O'Malley, a chance to definitively settle that score against a reinvigorated champion version of Yan represents the ultimate legacy fight. It's a path far more compelling than navigating through other contenders, offering a ready-made story of redemption and clarification. Yan's victory doesn't just create a new champion, it resurrects a dormant megafight. For O'Malley, the task is now twofold. First, he must decisively handle business against the formidable Yadong to reaffirm his elite status. If he does, the spotlight will shine blindingly on a potential title clash with Yan. O'Malley's ecstatic reaction to UFC 323 wasn't just about appreciating great martial arts, it was the sound of a master promoter and elite fighter seeing the perfect puzzle pieces fall into place for his own triumphant return to the summit.
In a devastating and anticlimactic conclusion to his championship reign, former UFC flyweight king Alexandre Pantoja saw his title slip away in just 26 seconds due to a freak injury at UFC 323, but the Brazilian stalwart is already vowing a resilient comeback. The fight against Joshua Van ended almost as soon as it began. As Van caught a Pantoja head kick, the champion attempted to post his arm on the canvas to brace his fall. Upon impact, a loud, sickening pop was audible, and Pantoja immediately crumpled in visible agony, waving off the contest himself. The referee stepped in, crowning Joshua Van the new champion via TKO due to injury. Despite the shocking and painful loss, Pantoja's spirit remained unbroken. He took to Instagram shortly after with a characteristically tough-minded message. "I've been through worse. I'll come back even stronger. You can be sure of that. Thank you for the messages." The exact nature of the injury immediately became a point of confusion and debate. UFC chief medical physician Dr. Jeff Davidson provided an initial diagnosis backstage, reported as a left shoulder dislocation with spontaneous reduction, meaning the shoulder popped out and back in on its own. However, this assessment conflicted with the visceral visuals and audio of the incident, which strongly suggested a severe elbow dislocation. Commentator Joe Rogan vehemently disputed the shoulder diagnosis on air, stating, "It doesn't even make sense. You saw his elbow literally leave the joint." Regardless of the specific joint involved, the result is the same: a significant arm injury that will require further imaging and evaluation with an orthopedic specialist in Florida. Pantoja faces a likely period of rehabilitation and recovery that will sideline him for the foreseeable future. Given his status as a dominant and active champion, the path back is clear. Once medically cleared, Pantoja is almost guaranteed an immediate title shot to reclaim the belt he never truly lost in a competitive fight. For now, the flyweight division has a shocking new champion in Joshua Van, while one of its most respected warriors begins the familiar, arduous journey back from adversity, determined to prove that his champion's heart remains fully intact.
In the aftermath of a UFC 323 card defined by title fights and legendary farewells, UFC CEO Dana White has identified the night's most significant building block for the future, unranked bantamweight sensation Payton Talbot. While the spotlight naturally fell on new champion Joshua Van and Petr Yan, White's most effusive praise was reserved for the 25-year-old prospect who expertly ushered Henry Cejudo into retirement, anointing him as the promotion's next bona fide superstar. When prompted about Talbot's ceiling at the post-fight press conference, White's response was immediate and unequivocal. "I could not agree with you more," he stated, directly endorsing the burgeoning narrative around the young fighter. He then dissected the performance that solidified this belief, highlighting the multifaceted skill set Talbot displayed against a former Olympic gold medalist and two-division UFC champion. He looked incredible, the distance, the range, picking him apart on the outside, and the takedowns. White's enthusiasm stems from witnessing a near-flawless tactical blueprint executed under bright lights. Talbot, leveraging a substantial reach advantage, masterfully controlled the cage geography. He peppered Cejudo with precise, long-range strikes, never allowing the stocky veteran to close the distance and implement his own grueling pressure game. Crucially, Talbot punctuated his striking dominance with well-timed takedowns, demonstrating a layered defensive attack that left Cejudo with no clear answers. While White paid respect to Cejudo's resilience in his final bout, the focus remained firmly on the victor's coming-of-age moment. "It was a hell of a night for fights," White summarized, with Talbot's breakout serving as a central pillar of that assessment. The victory is a transformative one for Talbot's career trajectory. Not only did he earn a unanimous decision win and a post-fight bonus, but he did so against a surefire Hall of Famer, exercising the ghost of his first career loss to Raoni Barcelos in the process. This triumph is expected to rocket him from the fringes of the division directly into the UFC's official bantamweight top 15 rankings, a leap that typically takes contenders years to achieve. For White and the UFC matchmaking team, Talbot now represents the ideal blend of youth, skill, and marketability in the 135-pound weight class. In a division ruled by the relentless Merab Dvalishvili in the past, the arrival of a fresh, exciting, and technically dazzling contender provides a vital new narrative. White's public anointing is not merely praise, it is a strategic signal. It tells fans to pay attention and tells the division that a new threat has arrived with the full backing of the promotion. The question is no longer if Payton Talbot will face elite competition, but who and how soon. With the CEO's belief as his biggest credential, Talbot's journey from prospect to contender is officially complete, and his ascent to the title picture has begun with the most powerful endorsement imaginable.